Today we're going to start talking about simplifying and using trig identities. So we'll start with example 1 here. You can download a link to this page if you want to get a copy of it on the website or on Canvas next to the assignment. So let's talk about this problem here. We want to simplify this expression. So there's a couple ways of simplifying expressions for trig functions. One way we've talked about a bit already is to change everything to sine and cosine. So if you notice everything's already written in sine and cosine, that's probably the first thing you should think of. Can I write everything in sine and cosine? If you can, do that. If not, move on. So we can't do that. So another thing that we can do is we can look at the denominators. You notice we have different denominators. Let's combine our denominators and see what happens. So if we combine our denominators and get a common denominator, this sine is going to be multiplied by this denominator, and cosine is going to be multiplied by that denominator. So we get the sine of theta times 1 plus sine theta plus the cosine of theta times itself, or cosine squared, all over the cosine of theta times 1 plus the sine of theta. Now all we did was get a common denominator. We still need to simplify. So simplifying, the first thing I'm going to do is distribute this in, and so I get the sine of theta plus the sine squared of theta, and then plus, and this is equal to the cosine squared of theta. And all of that is over the cosine of theta plus 1 plus, or times 1 plus the sine of theta. Now, if you remember, we actually can use an identity here. This sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta, that's our Pythagorean identity, so that's equal to 1. So what this means is I have the sine of theta plus 1 over the cosine of theta times 1 plus the sine of theta, and my numerator can be canceled out with part of my denominator, leaving me 1 over cosine. And remember that 1 over cosine is the same thing as the secant of theta. So our final answer is secant theta. So I hope that made sense. Let's move on to the next example. This time it says we're going to be using the double angles formula. So we want to get those out for reference. So make sure you have your reference trig identity sheet that I gave you. So let's write down some of these. We need to find the cosine of 2x and the sine of 2x. So the cosine of 2x, if you recall, and hopefully you're looking at your, hopefully you're looking at your sheet, but we have a couple identities for the cosine of 2x. One of them is the cosine squared minus the sine squared, which requires you to use cosine and sine. One of them is 1 minus 2 sine squared x, which requires you to use sine. And then one of them is 2 cosine squared x minus 1. You really can use any of those three and they will all get you the right answer. But since we have some information about what the cosine value is for x, I think we should use the one that only requires you to use the cosine. So I'm going to use 2 times the cosine squared x minus 1. And I can go ahead and start calculating that because I already know what the cosine of x is. So I'm going to take negative 2/3 and square it and then simplify. So negative 2/3 squared is 4 ninths. 2 times 4 ninths is 8 ninths minus 1, which is negative 1/9. So we already have one answer. Boom. All right, we also need to get the sine of 2x. So there's only one formula for that one. That's 2 times the sine of x times the cosine of x. So in order to get this, we absolutely have to figure out what the sine is. So we can actually use our identities. Again, we know what the cosine is, and so we can use the Pythagorean identity, which is the sine squared plus the cosine squared equals 1, plus cosine squared equals 1. And so if I plug in cosine squared, I get sine squared of x times, well, you can square that in your head, times positive 4/9, because when I square a negative number, it becomes positive, is equal to 1. And then if I subtract, I get the sine squared x is equal to 5/9. So the sine of x is equal to the square root of 5 over 3. And then real quickly, we should just double check the sign, whether or not it's a positive or a negative. So we're in quadrant 2, and if we're in quadrant 2, if you recall, quadrant 2, here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we're in quadrant 2, the sign value is positive because it's above the x-axis, so this is a positive. All right, now we have enough information to complete our problem here. Boom. So that's going to be equal to 2 times the sine of x. Well, the sine of x is root 5 over 3 times the cosine of x, which is a negative 2/3. And so that gives me 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 4 root 5 over 9, and it's actually negative. So the sine of 2x in quadrant 2 happens to be negative, even though the sign in that quadrant is positive. So I hope this helps. Stay tuned for the next video on another couple examples.